Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia does 700 or 800,000 buys on pay-per-view, says Eddie Hearn. Adrien Broner signs with Don King. What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Cardinal Red Sports. Let's talk about it. Alright, so recently Eddie Hearn had an interview and he spoke about the potential of the Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia fight doing some big numbers on pay-per-view. And he gave his view on whether that's possible or impossible in this day and time in the sport of boxing. Now, a couple of days ago, I did a video talking about, I believe it was Steven Espinoza saying that it was boxing fans holding back the sport of boxing from making super fights and doing good numbers on pay-per-view. And, you know, I beg to differ with that. I don't think it's the boxing fans. I really think that it's the product that's being put on for the boxing fans that's keeping those events from doing good numbers. Now, when it comes to the Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis fight, you got two superstars, two new generation superstars. And the thing about this fight that I agree with Eddie Hearn about is that he spoke about them not using the traditional route of promoting the fight. Like, they're doing press conferences and they're having their appearances on regular cable TV and everything like that. But he was saying that he feels like it would do good numbers because they're using the new wave of the internet to promote the fight. We all know Ryan Garcia has a huge Instagram following. Gervonta Davis got a pretty good Instagram following, but nowhere near as big as Ryan Garcia. But they're using the wave of the internet to promote this fight, and I think that that's the new generation way of doing things, to where, you know, 5 or 10 years ago, you would just have a press run of every sporting network, every sporting cable channel, because everybody was watching TV at that time. But, you know, there's still a significant amount of people watching cable TV, but the world is on the internet. So if you want to promote a fight, I agree with Eddie Hearn, you got to do it where the people are at, and the people are on the internet. And when it comes to Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia, I think they have a endless supply of free publicity, basically. Not all of it free, but with the internet, you can go on a lot of these smaller channels and promote yourself basically for free. You know, they'll probably pay you to be on their channel. But when it comes to Gervonta Davis, you know, he has a really good resource in $1 million worth of game, the station right there in that Baltimore, Philly area with Wallow and Gilly. You can take advantage of that, you know, up there in that New York, Philly, Baltimore area. There's a lot of media in that area. So not only does he have, you know, access to one of the biggest podcasts, because podcasts are like the real wave of the future. That's really where all the eyeballs are at now. And instead of people watching sporting news, they're watching sporting podcasts, or they're on YouTube watching sporting YouTube channels. So in that whole little Philly, New York, Baltimore area, a lot of media, a lot of good media for Gervonta Davis to take advantage of. And I feel like that's going to be one of the biggest reasons that this fight could potentially do really good numbers. Now, he's saying that it would do 700, 800,000 buys. I don't agree there. I think because when you think about, you know, the numbers that boxers have been doing for the past 5 or 10 years, not even Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence can do, you know, upwards of 300,000 buys. Now, Spence might hit it every once in a while. He might hit 200, 225, 250, but that's not a norm even for him. Terrence Crawford's not doing anywhere near that. Now, you got your outlier guys like Canelo Alvarez and Tyson Fury that are still doing really good numbers in the sport of boxing. But when you got superstars like Earl Spence and Crawford that can't even hit those numbers, I mean, you can't really expect for a fight like this to do anything greater than what those two guys would do. Now, the difference between this fight and other fights, when it comes to like Spence and Crawford, they're not fighting other superstar names. So if you add both of those superstar fan bases together, I think Ryan, his last few fights are probably done around 150 to 175,000 buys on pay-per-view, probably on the good end. Gervonta Davis probably similar, 175, maybe 200 on a really, really good night, but that's not the norm. But if you add both of those together, then you have the potential of hitting 350, 400,000 buys. And I think that's realistic, and I think that's really good. That would set a precedent for the sport of boxing to move forward with more super fights. If they can pull off 500,000 buys and fill the gate, then that's a really good night. Now, he's talking 700, 800. Steven Espinosa saying they got the capability of hitting 1 million. I would say that the 500,000 would be a really good night. I think 400,000 is very realistic, and that would be a new wave for the sport of boxing, and it would give encouragement to guys like Spence and Crawford to go ahead with their super fights, because they're still going to do really good numbers if they just make the fight. Now, when it comes to Adrien Broner signing with Darren King, man, that's very interesting. I ran across that news, I think, yesterday. I was going to do a video about it yesterday, but I'm like, you know what, this don't even warrant a lot of talking about. But Gervonta Davis came out and had a few things to say about Adrien Broner signing with Darren King, and a few other fighters actually spoke about it too. They were really concerned about him, I guess, basically getting effed out of his money. Now, here's the thing about boxing, man, and promoters. I don't think promoters are good for the sport. I don't think that they're all about doing the right thing for the fighter. They're businessmen, and their business is to make money. So I can't really blame a promoter if he gives you a contract that favors him more than it favors you, because he's the one with the money. He's going to put you in position to make more money, but he's going to make money at the same time. So, I don't really agree with a lot of these fighters saying, hey, make sure you read this and read that in your contract. You got lawyers already to do that. If they feel comfortable that you're hitting the number that you think you deserve, then I don't think there's a problem with you signing with a guy like Darren King or Bob Arum or Al Heyman. All promoters are shady behind the scenes. All promoters want to turn a profit. So I don't look at one promoter any different than I look at another promoter. I don't think Al is any better than Darren King. I don't think Bob is any better than Oscar. All these guys are in the business of making money, and they're going to try to use you to make them some money. So, when it comes to him signing with Darren King, I don't think it's, him making a stupid decision. I think he just made a decision he feels like it's best for him. Al's not going to give him the money he wants. Bob's not going to give him the money he wants. Oscar's not giving him the money he wants. Darren King is more than likely trying to just use his name to build some of his younger fighters. But Adrien Broner, at the age he's at, who else is going to give him the money he wants? So he went through his last resource, BLK Prime. We all knew that was going to flop. So I don't even know why he went that route. But I don't consider Darren King to be the most evilest thing in existence when it comes to boxing. All promoters should be wearing that same hat. And just because Mike Tyson, got screwed out of some money doesn't mean Adrien Broner, if he's careful, will get screwed out of some money. A lot of that stuff that happened to Tyson, even he admits he did a lot of that stuff to himself. So, you can't really blame Darren King if Mike Tyson made $100 million during his time, or 300 or 500, and he blew through 450 of it, and the rest went to lawyers and taxes. I mean, whose fault is that? Once you hit a certain number, you should start to realize you got to start making better decisions with your life. So, y'all let me know what y'all think about all that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me. Share, subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. More than likely to get a response on the tube, so holler at me over there. If you want to collabo, hit my Gmail, flockofcards@gmail.com. We are
Illuminati want your mind, soul, and your body. You want a red bone hottie and a Maserati. Is that a fair trade? I was in 3rd grade writing down mean. Now I'm as clean as you're made. Get these bitches wet, they some mermaids. Take a survey, they all prefer K. EYZ, still in the money. I'm a Louisville legend and I'm still in my 20s. Super cool, wind chill in the 20s, but I still pack heat. I can make it feel sunny. So you can rock a white beater when I'm mobbing through. But be safe and bring your coat and your toboggan too. I'm out of here. I'm on my mind. 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 Where you from, nigga? I would clown your ass, but you can't get smart with a dumb nigga. Dumb nigga, I would shank your ass, but you can't knife fight with a gun, nigga. If Louis Keys did it, it's a damn banger. Tape on the 38 like a jam banger. To this rap shit, I ain't no damn